you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this cause now and hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Why don't you stop right there? If you could try to speak up nice and loud, right directly into this microphone so the judge can hear you.
Yeah. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Sir, in a loud, clear voice, can you please introduce yourself? Spell your first name and your last name.
Officer Timothy Houston, TIMOTHYHOUSTON.
And, sir, what do you do for a living?
Patrol officer with North Andover Police Department.
How long have you been doing that?
A little over 5 years.
I'm just going to ask you to keep your voice up, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Sir, did you, where'd you grow up?
I grew up in North Andover
Okay, did you go through the North Andover school system?
up until high school.
And where'd you go?
I went to Central Catholic.
After Central Catholic, what did you do?
I went to Norwich University and got a bachelor's in criminal justice.
Okay. After you graduated there, what did you do?
I went to the Army. I was in the Army for 4.5 years, reached the rank of sergeant, and then came home, joined the North Andover Police Department.
Okay. And so when was that you joined the PD?
I started the academy in November of 2020.
And your rank now, you're a patrol officer?
Patrol officer.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about your duties as a patrol officer?
I worked a 4 to 12 shift. I started on midnights. I've been on 4 to 12. I think it's my 3rd year. It's basically if you're not answering calls, you're on the road, watching traffic, things of that nature.
I'm going to jump back for a second and just talk about your military service. You were in the Army, you said?
That's correct.
Okay. And what did you do there?
I was a cavalry scout.
Okay. And what did that entail?
I mean, I had different positions. The job itself, you mainly focus on reconnaissance. But while I was there, I started as a dismount, and then I moved up to a gunner, and then I was a dismount team leader, and then I was a gunner for the lieutenants in the platoon. That's pretty much it.
Where were you stationed?
I was at Fort Lewis, Washington.
Now we're going to jump back to the PD, okay?
Right.
Do you know a person by the name of Kelsey Fitzsimmons?
I do.
How do you know her?
We worked together briefly. I mean, she was in the academy. I can't remember how long she was out of the academy, but she was FTOing for a while, and she was FTOing on my shift. And then she finished FTO, and she worked on our shift for a brief period of time.
Okay. FTO, what do you mean by that?
So she was under a field training officer. So she was riding around with somebody while she got used to the job and learned.
Did she ever ride around with you?
No, she did not.
Okay. Did you know her socially at all?
Yeah. I was invited to her wedding. We kept in touch when she went on leave. Tried to keep her in the loop. Spoke with her, kind of, trying to get everybody together before her wedding. Her wedding was a decent amount of time away, and while she was out of work, we obviously didn't see her as much. So we had been working on planning something with some of the guys from work, people bringing their spouses, their dogs, and trying to figure out something, but it never happened.
Okay. Did you know her fiance?
I met him at the engagement party. Other than that, I'd see him, on calls if we had the FD, but I don't know him that well.
Okay. So I'm going to turn your attention to June 30th of last year. Were you working that day?
Yes.
Okay. And at some point, did you get in touch by Lieutenant Daly?
Yes.
Okay. And what was the nature of that communication?
He called me and said Justin filed an RO against Kelsey. He wanted me and Officer Noonan to go to the house and serve the RO, which required Justin picking up their baby and confiscating our firearms.
Okay. How did he get in touch with you? Do you remember?
By cell phone.
Okay. Did he ask you to do anything in particular about Officer Noonan?
Initially, he told me to drive past Kelsey's house and see if she was home.
Okay. Did you do that?
I did,
And you knew where she lived?
yes.
Did she park in a particular place usually?
So normally, yes, she would park in front of her house if she was home. I found her car 50 to 100 yards down the road, kind of in the school lot, kind of tucked away.
Okay. Did you relay that information to Lieutenant Daly at that point?
I did.
Okay. And at the point that you saw her car, had you already talked to Officer Noonan?
After I called Lieutenant Daly and told him about her car being out of, parked in a strange way, I called Officer Noonan.
Okay. And what did you tell him?
I said, hey, you know what's going on? He hadn't talked to Lieutenant Daly yet, so he had no idea what was going on. So I told him to meet me in the parking lot, and I'd go over it with him.
And did he do that?
He did.
Did he get there before Lieutenant Daly did, if you remember?
Yes, he did.
Did you inform him of what was going on?
I did.
At some point, did Lieutenant Daly also meet up with you in that particular spot?
Yes.
Okay. Did you talk about a plan as to how you were going to handle serving the order?
My only memory is what I updated Officer Noonan with, just the circumstances of why we're going there and concerns that we had, but I don't remember what the exact plan was. I think it was assumed that Lieutenant Daly would do most of the talking.
Okay. And you said your concerns. What were your concerns?
We were aware that she had been sectioned before, so, obviously it's a tough position for her, finding out, there's an order in place, we're taking her firearms, we had to take the baby, give them to Justin, so we thought with her past being sectioned, she might not take that news very well, and, we weren't sure what was gonna happen.
Okay. Had you served restraining orders yourself before?
Yes.
Now, at some point, did you go over to 125 Phillips Brook Road?
Yes, we did.
And the three of you?
Yes.
Did you go in together?
Yes.
All right. Can you tell us what happened as you approached the house? And take us from there.
So we parked off to the side of the house, out of view of the house itself. We walked around, knocked on the front door, or the side porch door, whatever.
Had you ever been in that home before?
I don't think I'd ever been in the home, no.
When you knocked or rang, I'm sorry, I forget what you said.
I don't remember.
Okay. Did someone answer?
Yes, Kelsey answered.
Okay. Did she have the baby with her?
She did.
Okay. So what happened then?
She wasn't sure why we were there. Lieutenant Daly kind of had the paperwork in his hand. She invited us in, and Lieutenant Daly just started explaining why we were there and what was going on.
Okay. Where in the house did you go?
So we went into the living room.
Okay. Did you remain standing? Was she seated? What happened with the baby? Can you describe what happened there?
So Lieutenant Daly asked her to take a seat on one of the couches, had her put the baby in like a rocker on the floor, and I stood kind of away from them by another couch.
Okay. Could you hear what they were saying?
Yeah, I couldn't remember exactly what was said, but
What was the gist?
Justin filed this order. She was shocked by it. Lieutenant Daly was doing his best to, mediate and tell her, this is what has to happen now, but you're gonna have your day in court. Like nothing's, we're gonna figure this out.
Did you look around the living room at all? At that
Yes,
point?
I did.
And did you notice something?
Yes. So on the couch I was near, there was clothes everywhere, and I could see a handgun case sticking out. And before that, Lieutenant Daly had asked Kelsey where her firearms were, and she said they're in the basement. And while they were having that discussion, I saw the handgun case, picked it up, opened it, it was empty, and Kelsey reassured me that they were in the basement.
Okay. So that was the second time she said they were in the basement.
Yes.
How soon after you got in there was that question asked about where the guns were, if you remember?
Almost immediately.
Okay. That was one of the first questions?
Yes.
Um, So, what happened next?
So we told her that, or Lieutenant Daly told her that Justin's gonna come and pick up the baby, so she said, you know, how long is he gonna have him? I need to pack for him. So me and Lieutenant Daly began following Kelsey as she packed for the baby.
Okay. And did she do anything with the baby when you guys were following her around, if you remember?
I believe at that time Officer Noonan was holding the baby.
Now, you said you were following her around the house,
That's correct.
was it? Why was that?
It was still, we were still a little bit on edge. She had to go to the kitchen. I remember when me and Lieutenant Daly followed her in the kitchen, I was concerned because there was butcher knives all on the kitchen. That was just something that stood out to me.
Okay. Was it your intention for you or another officer to be with her the entire time?
That's correct.
Is that standard practice when you're have similar concerns?
Correct.
After you went into the kitchen, do you remember where you went?
I believe we went upstairs, me, Kelsey, Lieutenant Daly, briefly, came back downstairs, and then we went into the other side room. I think it's like an exercise room.
At any point, if you remember, did the defendant make a call?
Yes, at some point she called her mother.
So after you came downstairs, at some point did you take possession of the baby?
That's correct.
Okay. What happened while you were holding the baby? Anything?
Yeah, so I took the baby from Officer Noonan, which Kelsey asked me to do, which I did. Kelsey told me, why don't you take him for a walk? He likes to look at the cars. I told her, I said I'd take the baby, but I wasn't going to leave. So I took the baby out on the porch, and the baby was crying, so I was doing my best with the baby. And at that point, her mom showed up.
Through that same door you guys had come in?
Correct.
Okay. And so what did you do when she came?
I peeked in, I told Lieutenant Daly, like, the mom's here, why don't we give her the baby, and we invited the mom in.
After the mom came in and you handed the baby to her, did you stay in the immediate area or did you go somewhere?
So once the mom came in, she was pretty upset with us, but Lieutenant Daly explained the situation to her. So at that point, me and Officer Noonan followed Kelsey upstairs so she could pack more things.
Describe upstairs, if you would.
There's a landing. It's a T hallway.
Hold on one second.
Yeah.
Okay.
You go up the stairs, there's a landing, and there's a room off to the left and a room off to the right.
And could you describe the room off to the left?
It's got I believe it's the baby's room, has a crib in it.
And how about the room to the right?
That would be Kelsey's bedroom.
Now, you said you followed her up there. Did she go in any one particular room?
She moved between both the rooms.
While you were up there?
Correct.
And what was she doing?
She was packing. At some point, she mentioned that Justin doesn't have a car seat, so she handed me a car seat. I was holding it and started putting more and more stuff in there, and at some point I put it down.
Why'd you put it down?
I didn't want to have my hands tied up.
And did that continue for some bit?
Briefly, at some point, she heard a female's voice downstairs, and she made a comment to me. She said, "Who's downstairs, my baby?" I said, "I believe it's your mom. I mean, we were just there." And she said, "That's not my mom's voice." And I got the sense that she wanted me to go downstairs and check, but I just kind of dismissed it at the time.
And so you stayed up there.
I stayed up
Do you
there.
remember which room that was in when you were having that conversation?
That was right at the landing, so she had moved, I think she had moved back to her bedroom, and as she was coming across, she had mentioned it. And at some point up there, I'd found another handgun case.
Okay.
And
Where was that?
I honestly couldn't tell you which room it was in.
Okay. And did you look into it?
I opened it, and she saw me open it, and she said, I already told you they're in the basement.
Was there anything in it?
There was nothing in it.
At some point, was your attention drawn downstairs again?
Correct.
Okay, can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so at some point, Justin came, Kelsey heard his voice, and she said, I don't want him in the house. And at that point, I thought the only thing that was gonna escalate the situation is them two in the house together at the same point. So I wanted to help Kelsey out, so I told her I'd go tell Justin to leave.
Okay. Where were you when this conversation happened?
Between me and Kelsey, we were still upstairs.
Okay. And was Officer Noonan also with you?
Yeah,
So did you go downstairs?
I did,
Okay. Officer Noonan stay up with Kelsey?
correct.
Where is she at this point, if you remember?
She was either in her room or at the landing, but I couldn't be certain. But when we had that conversation, we were at the landing. And I'm
Okay. You went downstairs.
correct.
And what did you do when you went downstairs?
So when I went downstairs, I only saw Lieutenant Daly, the mom, and I told him, Kelsey doesn't want Justin in the house. And he said, all right, Justin's, I don't know if he said he's in the basement or he's coming up from the basement. He said, just go to the basement and tell him just to wait outside.
Okay. So where'd you go?
I walked past Lieutenant Daly and Kelsey's mom through the kitchen where the basement, the top of the stairs is, and I opened that door.
Could you see down?
So it was, the lights were off. I flicked the light to turn the lights on. The lights didn't turn on. So
Could you hear anything downstairs?
I couldn't hear anything, and I remember after I flicked the lights on, they didn't go on, and I'm looking at a pitch black basement. I thought there was a chance I misheard Lieutenant Daly, and I just kind of stood there. I was like, I really don't want to walk down there if he's not down there, but I don't know how I was just kind of having like a moment where I wasn't sure whether or not to check with Lieutenant Daly.
Okay. Did something happen at that point?
Yeah, so at that point, I heard Officer Noonan yell, Kelsey, and then I heard 2 gunshots.
What did you do?
I ran back the way I came. At that point, it was only Kelsey's mom. She was still in the living room. Lieutenant Daly was gone. He'd already gone upstairs, and I started making my way upstairs.
Okay. When you were making your way upstairs, could you see anybody at the top of the landing?
I could see Officer Noonan.
And what happened as you went up?
So, I mean, I knew it was gunshots. I came over the air and I said, start medics. I don't know if that got caught or someone else was calling at the same time, but I had my pistol out and I was going up the stairs. I saw Noonan and I said, like, do you good up there? What was that? And I can't remember exactly what he said at that point.
Can you give us the gist of what he said?
At that point, he said, yeah, he looked like he was still in shock. He said, yeah. So I kept moving up towards him, and as I got closer to him, I was like, what just happened? And he said, she pulled a gun on me. And we talked about it later, but at that point, that's what he said.
That's fine right there, actually.
Okay.
Just didn't want anything further.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do you remember the exact words he used?
So the exact words he used would be after the FD and we had gone into the other room and spoken. But at that exact moment, that I don't even.
What's the basis?
So, I'm not, I guess that it's a vague question because I don't know what he's referring to in terms of what conversation, how long is it after the incident, what's the demeanor, what's the purpose of it being offered for. There's a lot to unpack here.
All right, well, what the answer was didn't include hearsay. It just was that, I think it was something to the effect that later on they went in the kitchen, but maybe he and Noonan and had a discussion, something to that effect, but the objection is overruled.
So the fact of the discussion, I don't object to, but just any further, I'm trying to stop it from coming out. Thank you.
Would the exact words that he used when you first ran up the stairs, would it help you to remember if you looked at a report?
I know he did say, she pointed the gun at me, pulled the trigger, and racked the slide. Whether it was right when I was moving up the stairs or once everything got situated, it was in that time frame, but I can't remember if it was exactly when I got to the top of the stairs or.
Okay,
Motion to strike the testimony.
would looking at a report help you remember that?
Hold on a second, there's an objection. To strike what?
Non-responsive, it's, I don't know what conversation he's talking about. It's hearsay and
All right,
it's frankly news to the defense.
Okay, so first things first, on the hearsay issue, Mr. Gubitosi.
I'm trying to establish that it happened seconds after the event.
So for the truth of the matter or state of mind?
Both.
Okay. And so to the extent that you're seeking to offer for the truth of the matter, it's hearsay. And I think, didn't we already litigate the spontaneous utterance?
No, that was a different time frame.
Oh, that was a different, all right. So are you arguing that this should be admitted as a spontaneous utterance?
Yes.
Okay. And then the rest of your objections that is within there, let's just take them a step at a time. Let's get through the spontaneous utterance. So, Mr. Bradel, what do you say on the spontaneous utterance?
So I think there's certainly a lack of foundation, Judge, where there's been two different overlapping statements that are referenced here. I don't know where they're going back to here. It needs to be clarified foundationally what happened before the statement, how long after the shots it was, what were the circumstances of that particular first statement they want to try to use.
So
that's what I asked for.
I agree with Mr. Bradel that it's the foundation right now, and it's not the witnesses, it's no one's fault. The foundation right now, to me, is confusing because he's having trouble remembering which conversation.
I do understand that. That's why I'm looking to approach with the report,
Okay,
to refresh his memory, yes.
All right, well, why don't you do that, and we'll take it a step at a time.
Just going to ask you to look.
Just so you know, for right now, I'm not going to strike the testimony because it can come in for state of mind. The issue is whether it comes in for the truth.
Thank you.
Does that help you remember the timing of that statement?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, when did that statement happen?
So that statement happened when I got to the top of the stairs.
Right.
I don't know what statement it is because he's
Sure, I'll ask him.
He's recited two different statements. Again, I'm not casting aspersions, but it was she pulled a gun on me or she pointed a gun, wrapped trigger, etc. So if you can have them clarify.
Sure. What statement did you hear when you ran up the stairs the first time?
So she pointed a gun at me. I'm speaking from Officer Noonan's perspective. Pointed the gun.
I can't hear you.
She pointed the gun at Officer Noonan, pulled the trigger, and then racked the slide.
All right, and there's an objection to that coming in for truth of the matter?
I just have one moment.
Sure, take your time.
Judge, there's still a lack of foundation here, Your Honor. Now he's saying something different than what he said 2 answers ago about what the statement was. So this is, in terms of any sort of a reliability preliminary finding of any of this, it's all over the place. He just said something completely different than what he said before.
He's now clarified it, so we're beyond that. And so he's now has identified the statement, identified where it was made, when it was made. There was some mention before about the declarant's state of mind. So I guess what I'm saying, politely saying, is you need to move beyond that. So now the issue for me is, does that statement come in for the truth of the matter? And
Judge, I think that I'll reiterate my arguments from the earlier discussion about the other excited utterance statement, Your Honor, that this isn't like a domestic violence situation where someone is, you know, a battered woman or something, where the time frame is much more flexible. And in this situation, you have an officer-involved shooting that happens. Another fellow investigating officer comes right up there, and there's a huge motive to fabricate immediately, Your Honor, that something happened that covers the officer, covers the shooting officer, versus being under the influence of the event so that you're not fabricating. There's an immediate impulse here that this officer has to cover his future. He has to cover his conduct right away. There doesn't need to be much time to realize that from an officer who jumps the gun, from an officer who panics and shoots someone in the wrong circumstances. That's something that would immediately happen. And particularly where there's no surrounding corroboration, where there's no attempt by the government or no testimony from Noonan that this happened. This is something completely different, that the statement happened anymore, that this interaction with Houston happened. There's extremely unreliable circumstances. If that really happened, Noonan would have testified to it. If that really happened, the government would have given me discovery on it. If that really happened, it would have been corroborated. So,
all right, so the discovery, the lack of discovery or argument is a different matter. Anything else on, again, on just the Commonwealth's assertion that it qualifies as a spontaneous utterance?
no, Your Honor, just the notion that it's not a domestic violence situation. It's a situation where the motive to fabricate immediately arises. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Gubitosi, anything further on that?
This is exactly what the exception is for. It couldn't have been more immediate unless Officer Houston was standing next to Officer Noonan when it happened. He immediately heard the shots, immediately heard the yell, and ran up the flight of stairs that you've seen pictures of, and asked what happened, and got that response. So that's my answer to that. And as far as, I think I have to, since we're on the record, talk about a discovery violation. We're not there yet.
Okay. We're not there yet.
Okay.
Okay, let's just take it a step at a time. All right, anything else?
No, thank you.
All right, so I'm going to sustain the objection, but for reasons different than Mr. Bradel articulated, and essentially for the same reasons that I stated yesterday to Attorney Moriarty, and that is that when I weigh the factors under Baldwin, I come out that it militates towards excluding it for the truth of the matter. It will come in for state of mind. We don't need to get to alleged discovery violations or any other reasons because I've sustained the objection. Unless you want to make a record.
It was part of his recorded interview that they've had since the beginning.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Now, sir, after you heard Officer Noonan tell you that she pulled out a pistol, pulled the trigger, and racked around, where did you go?
At that point, I was at the landing. I looked in, and I saw Kelsey on the ground, and I saw Lieutenant Daly over her.
What was he doing? Anything?
it looked like he was kind of evaluating her. I moved towards them. I asked either Noonan or Lieutenant, I said, where's the gun? I believe I asked Noonan, and he motioned away from Kelsey, so that stopped being my concern. I moved close to Lieutenant Daly just to see what level of consciousness Kelsey was. I could see she was breathing, she was alert, so I told Lieutenant Daly I was gonna go get a med bag.
Was she saying anything?
She kept saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
And so, where did you go?
I ran down to get the medical bag out of my cruiser.
Okay. Did you get it?
I did,
Did you come back?
I did.
And what did you do when you came back?
I threw the medical bag on the bed, and I started taking stuff out. I took out the AED, I took out gauze, wraps, stuff like that, handed it to Lieutenant Daly.
Okay. Sure.
All right, thank you, all set.
I'm going to jump back just a minute. When you went up the stairs and you saw Officer Noonan, did he have his gun out?
I was talking about when I came up with the med bag or before that?
First time.
First time, he had it out.
And how was he holding it?
He had it at the low ready, so he had it kind of down towards the ground.
Pointing to the ground?
Yes,
Do you see Kelsey Fitzsimmons in the courtroom here today?
I do.
Can you point to her and describe an article of clothing she's wearing?
She's wearing like a beige sweater.
May the record reflect she's identified the defendant?
It may.
Thank you. I have nothing else.
Cross-examination?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
You said that Ms. Fitzsimmons initially exhibited a lack of certainty, or that she was unsure why you were there, correct?
Correct.
And how was that manifested?
She just looked surprised. Her eyes were wide. She didn't, I guess it's the best way I could describe it.
Now, you were with her for a good amount of time during this interaction, right?
Correct.
And it's true that she tried to kind of get you away from her a couple of times?
That's what I believe, yes.
She gave you the baby and said maybe go out on the porch and or take him for a walk?
Correct.
And then she also put some, tried to put some things in your hands and asked you to take them downstairs?
She didn't ask me to take them downstairs. She just put them in my hand
And where did that occur?
on the landing
Upstairs?
upstairs.
And you said that you heard Officer Noonan yell Kelsey,
Correct.
and that's all?
That's all.
One time?
One time.
And how about after after he said Kelsey, how long of a time elapsed until the gunshots?
I couldn't put an exact time. It wasn't instant, but it was relatively quick.
Relatively quick. How about the gunshots themselves? There was 2 gunshots, right?
2 gunshots.
Were they in quick succession?
Yeah, pretty quick.
And you said that Ms. Fitzsimmons said, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Correct.
Did she say, I'm sorry, I tried to kill myself?
She did not say that.
Okay, just, I'm sorry?
I'm sorry. 3 times.
Now, was there a plan before this to section Kelsey?
No.
You mentioned that you had known that she was sectioned before, right?
Correct.
And that was several months prior, wasn't it?
I don't know exactly when it was.
Okay, so it's fair to say that you don't really have any grasp of the details of that incident, do you?
I do not.
And you don't know whether it had anything to do with the police or not, do you?
I know there was police there, but I don't know the circumstances of what happened.
Okay, so you don't know how long it was,
No.
and you don't even know whether she was in fact accepted as a Section 12 commitment, do you?
No idea.
And so, do you know the difference between having forms filled out to be looked at under Section 12 versus being accepted and committed under Section 12?
Yeah, so I didn't want to, like I said, I was invited to her wedding. I was friends with Kelsey.
No, that's not my question.
Okay.
I asked you some stuff about Section 12.
I know if you get sectioned, you're going to be there for probably 72 hours and you can't leave.
And do you have any idea whether that happened in March?
I have no idea.
So it's fair to say that other than kind of the notion floating around in your department that she was sectioned, you really have no information whatsoever about it, isn't that right?
No, I didn't want to know.
And then you said something about the knives in Miss Fitzsimmons' kitchen?
Correct.
What's the status of the knives in Miss Fitzsimmons' kitchen?
Just at that point, I wasn't sure what was going to happen, so I didn't want her to reach for a knife. It's nothing against her, it's just, it's a lot of information to take in. I didn't know how she was going to react.
Okay, so was there something strange about the knives that were in her kitchen?
No, it's just a weapon in the kitchen.
So when you're serving one of these things, anything can be a weapon, right? Any normal household product item can be a weapon, right?
I wouldn't say anything.
A lot of things. How about that?
Yeah, let's go with that.
And in this case, there were knives in her kitchen. Is there anything more to it than that?
No, that's it.